In 1950, this man launched a product that would revolutionize the world. The Bic pen is ingenious and solved problems that had existed for millennia. A pen, an essential tool in schools and offices that allows information to be recorded in a practical and lasting way, is seen as trivial nowadays due to how easily accessible it is. But it wasn't always like this. Less than 100 years ago, a regular pen could cost around $200 in today's currency. However, all of that changed thanks to the insight of one man, an Italian-born, French naturalized entrepreneur. His name, Marcel Bich. Marcel Bich was born in Italy in 1914, later moving with his family to Spain and then to France, where he became a naturalized citizen and spent most of his life. But to truly understand his impact and the legacy he left behind, we need to go back to a development that began around 5,000 years before his birth. It all started around 3000 BC in ancient Egypt. The Egyptians, ingenious in their quest for ways to record information, developed a primitive type of pen. It was made from a cut and mashed reed, resembling a rudimentary brush. This instrument was dipped into a special ink composed of soot and gum arabic. The combination worked well for writing on papyrus, a material made from the plant of the same name, which was abundant along the Nile. Although innovative for the time, these Egyptian pens were quite imprecise, and the evolution of writing instruments was very slow. Fast forward to the Middle Ages, around the 11th century, bird quills gained significant popularity. They were elegant and offered greater precision, but they had a short lifespan and were not accessible to everyone. Then, in the 18th century, a new innovation arrived: metal-tipped pens. These pens produced more consistent lines, but were not without issues. The metal tips often bent and required frequent ink refills. In the following century, around 1827, Romanian inventor Petre Poenaru obtained the patent for the fountain pen, a type of pen with an internal ink reservoir. However, fountain pens had problems controlling ink flow, often leading to leaks that excessively stained paper, and even the writer's clothes. Later, Louis Waterman improved the design of this type of pen, partially solving the ink flow issue. Waterman became the market leader in pens with his company, Waterman Pen Company, and began mass-producing fountain pens. However, Waterman's dominance in the pen market soon faced competition from an innovation that would lead his company into decline: ballpoint pens. The first version of the ballpoint pen emerged in 1888, just a few years after Waterman obtained his patent. It was invented by John Loud, who placed a small ball at the pen's tip and used a more viscous ink to prevent the common leaks of fountain pens. However, Loud's invention had a major usability issue. It wasn't very suitable for writing on paper, the primary purpose of a pen, but rather for rougher surfaces like leather. Because of its limited everyday usefulness, Loud's pen failed to gain market success, allowing fountain pens to dominate for many more years. The true popularization of the ballpoint pen only happened in the 1940s, when Hungarian-born Argentine Laszlo Biro developed his own version of the pen. Interestingly, it seems that Biro was unaware of Loud's invention, as it had never gained widespread recognition and had been largely forgotten. Biro was a journalist who frequently used fountain pens and personally experienced their biggest drawback: the difficulty of maintaining a steady ink flow, which often resulted in ink stains on paper, and even on the writer's clothes. The turning point for Biro came after conducting an important interview. Just as he was reviewing his notes, his fountain pen leaked, smudging the entire document. This frustrating experience led him to search for a better solution. The inspiration for his invention struck when he noticed children playing with a wet ball and observed how it left a trail as it rolled on the ground. That's when he had an idea. What if a small ink-covered ball at the tip of a pen allowed for smooth, free-flowing writing? The ball's motion would also help regulate the ink flow, preventing excess leakage. However, to fully control the ink flow, Biro needed to ensure the ink had the perfect viscosity. Not too fluid to prevent excessive leaking, but not too thick to avoid clogging the tube. That's when he brought his brother, George Biro, into the project. Georgi, a chemist, developed the ideal ink formula for Laszlo's ballpoint pen. Now, Biro needed an investor to bring his product to market. Enter Juan Jorge Maynard. an Argentine entrepreneur who believed in the idea and invested in Biro's business. This led to the creation of Birome, a ballpoint pen company whose name combined Biro with me from Maine. Birome's product was innovative and high quality, effectively solving the ink flow issues that plagued fountain pens. However, it still faced a major challenge: manufacturing costs. Producing a ballpoint pen was expensive, especially due to the ball and the specially formulated ink. This made the final product costly for consumers, limiting its accessibility and preventing mass adoption. But this problem was about to be solved by a Frenchman named Marcel Bich. Throughout his professional career, Marcel Bich worked in various roles, but it was in the pen industry that he found his true expertise. He worked as a fountain pen salesman and later became a production manager at an ink factory in France. During World War II, he and his business partner, Edouard Bouffard, acquired a small factory in the suburbs of Paris, in Clichy, where they produced parts for fountain pens and mechanical pencils. This experience in the pen industry was crucial in helping Bich recognize the immense potential of Laszlo Biro's version of the ballpoint pen. In 1945, Bich was born, his last name without the H at the end, since in English, his full surname could sound like a swear word. Around this time, he likely acquired Biro's patent for approximately $2 million in today's currency. But Bich had a plan. His goal wasn't just to use the patent to produce the same pens as Birome. As mentioned earlier, he had experience as a production manager in an ink factory and already owned a pen parts manufacturing business. Clearly, he understood production processes. So, he used this knowledge to improve the design and significantly reduce manufacturing costs, which was Birome's biggest weakness. It had failed to popularize its pens due to high production expenses. First, Bich simplified the design, removing unnecessary details that weren't essential to the pen's functionality. This minimalist approach allowed for full automation of mass production, drastically reducing the unit production cost, thanks to economies of scale. He also made Bic self-sufficient in its manufacturing process, ensuring control over the production of most of the pen's components, from the plastic tube to the ink and even the ballpoint itself. Speaking of the ball, Bich chose tungsten, which improved writing quality while also reducing long-term costs. Finally, in 1950, the Bic Cristal was launched. The Bic Cristal became an instant commercial success, both due to its high quality, which solved an age-old problem, and its affordable price. At the time, it retailed for about 0.9, adjusted for inflation, making it 50 times cheaper than its competitors. It became popular in multiple countries and continents, and is still one of the best-selling pens in the world, with annual sales estimated in the billions of units. It has even become a design engineering icon, and is part of the Museum of Modern Art's collection in New York. If you enjoyed this video, I invite you to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. A big hug and see you next time. Thanks.